Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know this rush hour of February 28, Friday. I'm Riza Diaz. Jump-starting today's rush with 3 repatriates from the Diamond Princess cruise ship showing symptoms of COVID-19. This was confirmed by Health Secretary Francisco Duque himself in an interview with 1PH. Recall that 445 Filipino crew members returned to the Philippines last Tuesday after undergoing a 14-day quarantine inside the ship.
Mukhang okay naman sila, pero may tatlo na nagpakita ng sintomas. So yan ay dinala sa JB Lingad para masuri at malaman kung sila ba ay positibo o negatibo sa COVID-19.
Now, because of the 3 new PUIs, the total number of suspected COVID-19 cases in the country has climbed to 615. Only 64 of them are still admitted in hospitals, while over 500 have already been sent home. Now, on the other hand, the global tally for the virus outbreak now stands at over 82,500. This comes after Kuwait reported a surge in COVID-19 cases overnight due to people coming from Iran. Death toll from the coronavirus disease is at 2,810, while over 33,200 people have recovered from the disease. Another Filipina has tested positive for COVID-19 in Hong Kong. The Philippine consulate there says the patient has been put under isolation and is undergoing close observation. Meanwhile, the city's first Filipina COVID-19 patient is still on track for release within this week, provided her test results remain negative for the disease. The Interagency Task Force on COVID-19 is studying the possible repatriation of Filipinos in Macau. That's after reports of some 200 OFWs requesting to be brought home from the gaming hub amid the virus outbreak. Latest tally shows confirmed cases in Macau at 10 with no reported deaths.
Tingnan natin ang posibilidad, no? Weighing all the possible factors kung maiuwi natin sila, paano at kailan. Ngayon po kasi yung sa Macau, ito po ay special request naman pinadala sa ating gobyerno at ngayon ay pinag-aaralan natin.
The partial travel ban on South Korea still awaits full implementation, pending a more detailed resolution from the government. Tourism players have no choice but to brace for the impact of the travel ban. Gerald de la Peña has the report.
Flights to and from South Korea are still on, despite the government's imposition of a travel ban on Wednesday. There are a total of 20 departing and arriving flights to and from Incheon and Busan on Thursday. The Bureau of Immigration said OFWs, permanent residents, and students will still be allowed to board. On the other hand, those who have been to North Gyeongsang province in South Korea, regardless of nationality, will not be allowed to enter the Philippines. But with a detailed resolution yet to be released, the BI admitted that the ban poses a lot of challenges.
Kasi what's different about this travel ban, unlike yung mga travel ban nung nakaraan po, which targets the entire country, ito po, selective lang yung travel ban natin.
The tourism sector is bracing for the worst, especially since they were pegging around 600,000 Filipinos to travel to the peninsula this year, up from about 500,000 in 2019. Not to mention that close to 2 million Koreans arrived to the country last year.
Public health and safety is of utmost importance. Siyempre, kailangan suportahan natin yan kahit na malaking impact yan sa negosyo ng turismo.
Airlines also have yet to receive any directives from the government regarding the ban.
Patuloy po yung ating coordination with the aviation authorities. We are waiting also for more official guidelines from them para po we could help each other out.
The latest travel ban has also caused confusion among passengers, counting among them Kurt, who is worried that he may not be able to fly out even if he is carrying a student visa.
Baka di po kasi kami matuloy kasi mag-i-start po yung semester namin ng March 14. Kaya inano na po namin na sana matuloy po muna kami.
Starting Wednesday, Cebu Pacific has barred international passengers from using its online check-in platform. Flag carrier Philippine Airlines, meanwhile, is no longer allowing the use of self-printed and digital boarding passes. These moves were meant to ease the checking of travel history and passengers flying out of the country. For News 5, Gerard de la Peña, we are One News.
Contact tracing efforts continue, this time involving a flight carrying South Korean passengers from Daegu, which is one of the areas covered by the travel ban. Around 20 South Korean nationals reportedly arrived at the Mactan Cebu International Airport earlier this week from Daegu. Now, the health department says it's stepping up efforts to track down the passengers but is not recommending the automatic deportation of the individuals.
Di ho tama rin ang proseso na gano'n, no? Kasi mas i-risk mo pa yung gano'n instead of them being observed here in the country.
Some theories are circulating now that the spread of the virus could be traced back to a secretive South Korean church with regular meetings in Wuhan. The South China Morning Post reported that members of this particular Christian church held meetings in Wuhan last December and only stopped when news of the COVID-10 spread became more serious. The Christian sect has around 200 members in Wuhan, most of whom are currently under quarantine outside the city. Now, over in the U.S., San Francisco is now under a state of emergency as preemptive measures for the virus outbreak. While a Sacramento resident tests positive for COVID-19, even though he never traveled to countries with confirmed cases. Maricel Halili has a report.
City workers in San Francisco, California's Chinatown are doubling efforts to keep their district clean. San Francisco Mayor London Breed put the city under a state of emergency due to the coronavirus outbreak. But it's all preemptive. The mayor clarified there is no COVID-19 case in the city. It's a different case, though, in the neighboring city of Sacramento, where a patient tested positive for the virus, despite having no known contact with an infected person, nor did the person travel to places with COVID cases. The CDC is worried of the possibility that the disease has already spread in the community. With 17 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in California, some people agree with Mayor Breed's declaration.
There's so many mixtures of people in San Francisco. A lot of people travel, so it might hit here.
However, others feel that it is too early to declare a state of emergency.
I think it's a bad idea because it just pumps a lot more fear into the area.
San Diego residents, however, remain calm, but they're also preparing for the worst. Face masks and hand sanitizers are now flying off the shelves. Their health department is constantly reminding residents to maintain good hygiene.
Mag-ingat ng doble kasi malapit nang mag-summer flu season. Kaya sinasabihan nilang mag-flu shot ng mga tao.
Meanwhile, in Vallejo, California, a few miles away from San Diego, Rita, a Filipina, admits to avoiding some areas in the city.
We're not panicking or anything like that. It's just like, just cautious though. Just cautious. You want to go to Chinatown? I'm not about to go to Chinatown right now.
But U.S. President Donald Trump said there's no reason to panic, given that COVID-19 cases in the country remain relatively low. He declared openness to any measure agreed upon by Congress, including an emergency spending package. For News 5, Maricel Halili, we are One News.
Here are the biggest stories from the dailies. Filipino Star ngayon reports that President Duterte has created a national task force to contain animal-borne diseases like the African swine fever. The task force will focus on implementing policies and strategies to curb the spread of ASF. Officials of the Agriculture and the Health Departments will lead the National Task Force on Animal-Borne Disease. The Bureau of Immigration has ordered a complete reshuffle of its officers and personnel at the NAIA following the pastillas controversy. Philippine Star reports that close to 800 immigration personnel were reshuffled from port operation officers to terminal heads down to counter personnel. And this from Business World, the impact of higher food prices to poor Filipino families has worsened. Inflation as experienced by low-income families clocked in at 2.3% in January, which is the fastest record in 6 months. Economists attribute this to the recent volcano eruption and the implementation of train law. The DNR slammed an international study alleging that the air quality in the Philippines is still not within WHO's safety limits. Shaila Francisco reports.
The Philippines still has the cleanest air in Southeast Asia, at least according to the Air Visuals 2019 report, which ranks countries with the worst air quality. From placing 48 in 2018, the Philippines fared better last year at the 57th spot. The report measured levels of a fine particulate matter called PM 2.5, which can easily enter a person's respiratory system. It is about 24 times the size of human hair. But despite the improved ranking, the report showed that concentrations of PM 2.5 increased by 3 micrograms per cubic meter in 2019, still exceeding the World Health Organization's threshold of 10 micrograms per cubic meter.
Even construction, yung mga fine particulates coming from that, it contributes to air pollution. But amongst all the sources of pollution, the industries such as transport and energy na gumagamit ng fossil fuel, yun yung pinaka may impact.
For Greenpeace, the report was lacking in measuring other pollutants as well as monitoring areas close to main sources of pollution. Greenpeace cautioned against the health risks of dirty air, which may result in 27,000 premature deaths and an economic loss of 1.9%, according to its commissioned study.
Air pollution is a silent killer. So it affects almost all Filipinos. These are impacts na nararanasan natin ngayon and we don't know na attributed pala siya sa air pollution.
The Environment Department meanwhile slammed both Air Visual and Greenpeace, calling their studies unreliable as their methods are not accredited by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency.
They keep on, coming up with the informations which are inaccurate, no? But with this, we will take legal action against them.
But the DNR acknowledged that air quality here is bad.
Falls back to the economic status of our country. Marami pang sasakyan dyan na masama yung tambucho.
The DNR is looking to conduct its own study on air quality. Shaila Francisco, VR1 News.
Now in other news, no COVID-19 outbreak threat is stopping tourists from lining up to see the Northern Blossom Flower Farm that has reopened in Sayangan, Atok, Benguet. Well, who can blame them? The 3-hectare flower farm features thousands of flowers with more than 20 variants arranged by landscaped by the native experts. Now, the place also takes pride in its scenery of well-known mountain and vegetable terraces. That's on top of the magnificent sunrise that can be viewed at the farm. Entrance fee is at 250 pesos for adults, while there are discounted rates for kids and senior citizens. And that's how today is shaping up to be. Join us again next time for another round of Rush. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.